So, welcome to step 3 of the 5-step gut fix formula. So, step 3 is all about eliminating the pathogens. This is the fun stuff. This is getting rid of the bad bugs. Now, the reason we did not start with this, and this is what holds most people back on their healing journey, is they jump right in and they say, hey, I got Candida, or hey, I got SIBO, or hey, I got this, and they just start hitting it with all these different supplements and herbs, and next thing you know, you have severe die-off, or the herbs and supplements that you're taking are causing you a tremendous reaction in your body, and you don't know why, because you think you're doing all the right things, and you're actually hitting a wall. And how do I know that? Because I was there. That was me. I tried to do this stuff first, and I ended up getting severe reactions, severe die-off. My rash would get worse, and I didn't understand it. My skin would get worse, my food sensitivities would get worse, my brain fog, my fatigue, everything would just be 10 times worse, and I didn't understand why. Until I used this step-by-step system of first rebuilding the alkaline reserve. So this goes back to step 1. The reason you don't start with this is because if you start with this first, as you're killing these things off, as you're getting rid of them, and they die, and they're causing die-off, they're leaving a lot of acidic residue behind. So first of all, your body's in an acidic state to begin with if you're sick. Second of all, now you're adding more acid to the overall picture. This is going to hold you back from healing, because if you remember from step 1, we need to keep the body more alkaline. The more alkaline it is, it's actually going to be much easier for you to heal. So this is like when these things die off, Candida, parasite, SIBO, when they die, when you're trying to get rid of them, they actually leave behind a lot of different residues and toxins and all this different stuff that they basically digest and live on, and that's what they leave behind. And now you have all this toxic residue in your bloodstream, in your gut, and this is why you can't heal, because you're now having a more severe reaction. And if you try to hit them all at once, right away, full blast, they're probably going to do a lot more damage to your gut. So that's why step 1 is building the alkaline reserves. Step 2 is food focus, not feeding any of these critters by focusing on what you can have that's not going to affect the gut. Now we're at step 3. This is when, after you've built up your alkaline reserves, after you've eliminated all food triggers and sensitivities, now you can focus here. Because you don't have any food that's coming in to feed the bad bugs. Your body's getting more alkaline. So now you're able to handle this deeper type of cleansing. For most people, you may not even need to go this far. Just by getting alkaline, eliminating your food sensitivities and triggers, and rebuilding the gut and bringing in good guys like probiotics, you'll probably completely be able to heal. For people that do definitely have Candida, do definitely have parasites, those are going to be your limiting factor until you get rid of those. So yes, alkalizing the body is going to help get rid of those. Eliminating food triggers that are going to feed the bad bugs is going to help get rid of those. But if you have a severe overgrowth or a severe issue, then you have to go a lot deeper. And you need to do a very deep cleaning in order to get those out. Because if you don't, they're your limiting factor. As long as they're present, as long as they're going to stay there, they're going to hold you back from completely healing your gut. Because they're basically in there feasting off of this food that's undigested. They're fermenting, they're multiplying, they're thriving in there, they have a food source. And on top of that, they're attaching to your gut wall and to your villi. They're damaging that, so you're not getting the proper nutrients even though you're eating the right food. When you take herbs and supplements, they're not working like they should because your villi, all the places that absorb the nutrients, are damaged because these guys are damaging. So these are like the intruders, right? This is like think of like the bad guys or the criminals or maybe like a bad army or something, right? And we got to get them out, because if they're still there, they can do damage. So we have to get them out, right? We're going to clean, if the gut was a city, we want to clean the city of all the bad guys, and we're going to flood it with the good guys. So how do you do that? This is when you bring things in like oregano oil, grapefruit seed extract, pau de arco, whether in a tea or a tincture, clove, triplex formula, right? So there's a strategy, there's an exact strategy depending on your condition. Most of those things are for Candida. If you have parasites, then you focus more on triplex, you focus more on clove, because if you have parasites, you got to get rid of the eggs as well. So you got to get rid of the parasite, you got to get rid of the eggs, and you got to get rid of any biofilm that's left over. Same thing with Candida. Candida's a yeast, slightly different. Same thing applies. You got to use antifungals, get that fungus out of there. On top of that, you now have to clean the system and the blood of the biofilms and all the stuff that was left behind from the Candida. Now, this is why this is step 3, and we're not focused on flooding the gut with good guys first. Because if you are bringing all this in, it is pointless to be trying to bring in fermented food and probiotics, because your antifungals and your anti-parasitic herbs and supplements are going to completely destroy your probiotics. You're going to be throwing money down the drain. If you have to, then we focus on these things. And I cover this in detail in my Revive to Thrive 8-week gut rebuilding program, because depending on your condition, whether it's Candida, whether it's SIBO, whether it's parasites, then you have to use a specific protocol, or otherwise it's not going to work, if you even have to go that far. What I do recommend is probiotics and enzymes. Now, I said if you're doing all this, don't have probiotics. If you feel that you don't, or if this is too overwhelming, you don't want to do this, you can start by using the probiotic first and seeing how that reacts with your system. Because for most people, just having the probiotics come in now are actually going to take over, and they're going to start getting rid of the bad guys on their own. So you may not even need to use all these extra herbs and supplements to flush them. The probiotics may flush them on their own. Keep in mind, there's specific probiotics are going to do different things. For this, I recommend soil-based probiotics. They have better chance of surviving stomach acid, and overall, they're going to be able to last a lot longer. So you could try that strategy of using the probiotic if you don't want to get into all this. If you do want to get into this and you do want a little more detail and a little more help, I would be glad to help you with that. And the other important thing is enzymes. Now, yes, we need enzymes both for when we eat food, when we're digesting the food. The enzymes are going to help to break everything down more efficiently. So you're having less work on the digestive system. The enzymes are going to help break all that food down, because if you have food that doesn't properly break down, that is food for the bad guys. The less we feed them, if they can't eat in there, they're going to die. They're not going to be able to thrive. That is the whole point of what we're doing. The other technique you can use is enzymes on an empty stomach. If you do that, now we're attacking the actual Candida. It's cleaning the bloodstream. We're getting at the parasites. We have enzymes that have proteases in there, or they're called proteolytic enzymes. And basically, those are enzymes that digest proteins. Proteins are going to be your yeast, your Candida, your parasites, your SIBO. So taking enzymes on an empty stomach makes them medicinal as opposed to just a digestive aid. And once you make the enzymes medicinal, you're clearing the blood out of the biofilm and all the residue that's left behind from the Candida, the parasites, and all that. So just keep that in mind, that this is step 3. Do not do this first. This can cause tremendous, tremendous reaction in your body, and this will make things 10 times worse if you do not do the other 2 steps first. That's why I laid it out in a step-by-step process. So you got step 1, build your alkaline reserves. Step 2, food focus, so you're eliminating your food triggers and sensitivities. And now step 3, we're eliminating the pathogens, we're getting rid of the bad bugs, we're basically cleaning house. Once you do that, then the next step is starting to rebuild the gut wall itself, because the gut wall cannot be rebuilt if you have these things in there, these pathogens, because they're going to be doing damage to that wall. They're latched onto that wall, and they're going to be causing a lot of irritation. They're going to be opening the cells, so you have your leaky gut. It's not going to be able to heal. These things are in there, and they start putting out like nets and stuff, and that's going through your entire system. So we got to get those cleaned out. For most people, just the probiotic and the enzyme used medicinally is going to work. If you have to take that next step, then you bring in your antifungals and anti-parasitic herbs and supplements, and that way you'll be able to fully clean. And if you follow this step-by-step system, you probably do not even need to get tested. So in my program, I also have a Candida Sheet, which is a questionnaire, and you can actually go through and answer the questions, and you come up with a score at the end, and you'll be able to tell whether your problem is mostly Candida or if it's something else. And if it's parasites, you will know if it's parasites. If it's SIBO, a little similar to what we're doing with Candida, but slightly different. But if it's parasites, completely different technique than if you have Candida. So if you take the test and you get a high score and you know you have Candida, then that's the thing you focus on first, okay? So I'm Nick Vidal. That has been step 3. I will see you on the very next video, step 4, when we're going to talk about actually rebuilding the gut. And remember, if you need help with any of this at all, you can always click to the right of this video or left of this video or down below, and you can schedule a call with me, and we can talk about what's been holding you back, what you've tried, and get you a plan of action for moving forward. So I will see you on the very next video.